Good morning, YouTube. I want to title this When Practice Becomes Showtime. When practice becomes showtime. I was in a guitar center yesterday because sometimes I like to go there after work to see the who's who. Pianos ain't changed, but I like to go there after work to see what I can see. And when I was there, I ran into a guy there. And the guy said, can you play this thing? And he pointed to a Williams piano. Williams piano was about maybe $500. And he was in the market or looking for a piano for his son, which was 32 years old, or he's 32 years old. And he shared with me that he had a disability, Tourette's, but the piano calmed him down. He said, can you play this thing? And I said, well, I'm not a piano player, but I sat down and I played this song. I forgot where I was going with it. I got it. Now I'm forgetting it. There we go. And then I went to me. I forgot where I'm going with it. I forgot where I'm going with the song. But anyway, I sat down and I played that flawlessly to him. I know I didn't play it flawlessly here, which is very weird. And I told my wife, I was like, why when I'm in there, I don't play flawlessly. Now I do play flawlessly when nobody's looking, or certain examples, but usually, when I'm sitting here talking to you guys about situations like this, I'm trying to play, I'm trying to talk at the same time. I haven't mastered that yet, but when I was there, and mind you, I didn't play him something I knew. I didn't go with anything I knew. I was kind of familiar with this piece, Georgia, but as you guys have been watching, I've been trying to get that under my fingertips, and that's where I went. And then after I went there, I went to I went to a couple of different places, a couple of pieces that I had been practicing on. Why did I not go to the pieces that I'm familiar with? Is because when someone asks me to sit down and play a piece, I don't want to immediately go to something I'm familiar with. I want to go to something that I'm working on. Call me backwards. I want to go to a piece that I'm working on and see how well I've been working on that piece. You know, I didn't go to that piece. I went to something that I was working on. Perfect timing. Keep forgetting that A minor. You know, so I went to a piece that I'm currently trying to master, and I executed it well. But just like this is titled "When Practice Becomes Showtime," it was showtime, and showtime became go time. And he took my number down. He said, "Hey," he said, I may be giving you a call for some lessons. I may be giving you a call for some lessons." Now, there was another pianist in the corner going hand with his classical music, but what made the guy I was talking to sit down and listen to what I was doing? And this is another topic of discussion, but it all comes down to the genres of music that you play. Classical music, you know, classical music is good. You know, classical music is great. Classical music is great, but classical music is what it is. What resonates with people is what resonates with people is songs that and I'm not saying classical music doesn't render emotion and feeling, because indeed it does. I really enjoy learning classical music for the foundation, for the structures of for the arpeggios. But if you want to make somebody feel something, you want to bring them back to a place and time where they remember. You want to bring them back to a place and time where they can remember. You want to bring them back to a place and time where they can remember. Place and time, and for him, I was doing a couple pieces. I forgot how he was, about 32, 42, 52. 62. Yeah, he was in his 60s. He was in his 60s. Had to be touching 70. But you know, I started playing songs that were reminiscent to him. Not to say that classical isn't reminiscent, but you know, when you hear some Elton John, I'm sorry, or some when you hear some Bob James, he's familiar with that music. He's familiar with that music. He gave me some other Hoagie Carmichael pieces because he's a guitarist. But practice became go time or showtime. And he said, I could tell you have a nice touch with the keys. Help me out here. I don't know why I want to do that. Okay. Just the gliding of the fingers. You know, you can tell that I don't aimlessly play. I play to, when I sit down at the keys. When I sit down at the keys, you know, you can there can be a dozen players in a room, and you're gonna hear me hit the keys real softly, and the loudness, you can hear that softness of playing. Go to the A minor. You know, and if you listen to the original Georgia on My Mind by Hoagie Carmichael, it indeed is a song like that. It's not the Ray Charles version. John Oglesby, John Ogletree did a great job of his interpretation of that song. But if you go back to the original, it's not even a piano piece. It's not even a piano piece. Even though Hoagie Carmichael plays the piano, you can hear that horn in the background. If I can get that horn, let me see if I can split this board a little bit. Well, can't do it, but you know, you can kind of, if you listen to it, you can hear the horn playing, then you can hear Hoagie Carmichael coming in with the you know, you can pick out the nuances of that song. I'm getting excited just playing it. But you can pick out the nuances of that song, and when you pick out the nuances of that song, you can actually throw that into your piece of music. And that's when I told him, I said, you know, we're talking about being disciplined. I said I had to be disciplined to play this song as it is written. Again, going back to my same thing. getting stuck right there. Again. Pick it up. Where were you going? Where? There it is. You know, at the end you can take off and do what you want to do with the piece of music. But when just as this title, as I'm gonna title this, when practice becomes showtime. Everything that you see me doing in practice, everything that you, that's the reason why I tell people, I say, hey, I could tell if you've been practicing your keys. I could tell if you've been at your keys just by the simple. And then I began to play something that he might have been familiar with. That you know, then I went to a couple pieces that I was familiar with. And I began to tell him some stories about the song. Then I took him to some R&B. You're gonna be like, how did you take the older white gentleman to some R&B that is his 60s? I related a song. He's a piano player. I said, have you ever heard of Jaco Pastorius? He said, yeah, I've heard of Jaco Pastorius, The Portrait of Tracy. So as soon as I did this, he knew exactly what that song was. And I said, well, now let me tell you the story of Brian Alexander Morgan and how he took the help me out with this one. I'm sorry. Where are we going? Anyway, I didn't play that whole song for him, but I usually begin to pull songs that whoever I'm talking to, they can relate to some songs. But relate to some songs. Some songs. That's why it's really, I mean, you know, it's good to do classical, but classical's for some aha, you know, that's good. That's good. It's for us technical players. Like I could sit down and listen to some Chopin. You know, I could sit down and listen and get some enjoyment out of it. For the mass majority of people, they don't do that. They don't even do that with jazz. I'm gonna say it like that. But we as musicians can. We as musicians can. I think I need to cut this a little bit. We as musicians can. We can actually sit down and look at a piece and be like, that's cool. I'm digging what he's playing. But for the mass majority of folks, they want to play songs that they're familiar with. So if I'm going to play a song, I took a song, took an EP about it. Let me see. with that one. You know what? I'm gonna pull that song out because I keep mixing it with two songs. But anyway, I brought it down to something that he was familiar with, and I eventually we started talking about Stevie, and we started talking about also Greg Gaines, and he said, "Yeah, I played with a couple of those guys." You know, but when practice becomes showtime, it tells. When practice becomes showtime, and usually I don't like to go to pieces that I already know. I like to go to pieces that I'm working on. Call me crazy, call me yeah, and I'll sit there, and I might, I'll struggle here with it, but when I'm usually in the Guitar Center, my mind goes immediately. There it is. There it is. Yeah. Chord changes make me feel warm. That's what I do. That's what I do. What I do. So, you guys still keep practicing heavy. That's when I'm on here. I'm practicing. I'm practicing. I'm not trying to. I'm not trying to. Throw my best out there. I'm practicing. I'm in a lane of creating, and then when I go to perhaps a Guitar Center or some other place, then it's showtime. And I don't even mean to do showtime. I just go there to look at the keys and be like, ooh, I'm looking for a very light keyboard. But when practice becomes showtime, I could tell if you've been practicing. Peace. Let's make this Music Talks episode 47 or 46. I think we're at 47, but peace.